Well, it has been just one of those days. Literally, while the intros are playing, I realized I'm not wearing my glasses. And I forgot to put the lights on, like the flashing strobes. It has just been one of those days, in the words of Fred Durst, where I don't want to wake up. Everything is effed. Everybody sucks. I don't really know why, but I want to justify ripping someone's head off. But it's okay. We are here. We are here. Just to let you know, before we start anything at all, keep Austin in your thoughts and prayers. He wasn't feeling really well yesterday. He said he was very, very sick. So unfortunately, we did not do Lean on Me last night, or rather, he did do Lean on Me last night. So just keep in your thoughts. He's been to the hospital a couple times. Just some minor issues. Sometimes they build up. But just keep in your thoughts and prayers. Hopefully, he'll be back on Thursday. We hope. We pray. But I hope you guys had a good weekend. I had a pretty good weekend. I had a great weekend. Friday and Saturday night were phenomenal. I had a blast. I can't tell you about it. But I did see the Escape Room sequel. I liked it. I liked it for what it was. It's like Saw 2.0, but with like more people and less gory. But how have you guys been? We're talking a lot of stuff today. We're talking Last of Us 2. We got one picture, one measly picture, and I hope it doesn't turn into a rant about The Last of Us 2. But I digress. We're also talking about X-Men. Should they change the name? No. Will they? Probably. Will it affect the brand? Well, maybe it might. Who knows? What are they going to change to? X-Force? Deadpool already took X-Force. X-People? X-Humans? Here's the thing. They have to come up with something cooler. It's got to be cooler than X-Men if they do that. It has to be cooler. If you're going to replace something, it's got to be with something better. But I hope they don't. But, folks, if you're new to the channel, make sure to like, share, subscribe, or as I like to say, share, which is subscribe and share together. But let me say hi to all 6 of you watching. Here we go. We have Benson. We are talking R. Kelly. Remember the R. Kelly crying face? Have shades inside again. I literally forgot to put them on today. I literally forgot to put it. Hello, Pop Culture Corner again. We have Nolan Gonzalez. 17 days till DC fandom. Yes, I will be actually with Ty doing DC fandom. Apparently, there won't be a Flash trailer. Marlon Eric, thank you so much for coming back. I appreciate it. Let me give a shout out real quick to our channel members. We have Saggy Melons, Benson's, Prakash Swin, DC Talk with Extended. See, I'm always waiting for another word, like extended what? Adam Silvestri, That One Carlos, Resident Justice, Billy Robert, Nick Carr, John Riddell, Justin Hines, Kinky Sphincter, Caden Reed, Sean Adame, Nick DePalma, Jack S., he's my favorite member, T-Rob, Alien LV1023, and Roblox. We will have to update this, but we will. So, this September, if you become a member, look, folks, we have a 3-tier level system. You can join for as low as $2.99, and you can get yourself a copy of Zack Snyder's Justice League by just being a member. Whether you're a new member or an existing member, you will have the chance to get this copy of Zack Snyder's Justice League. If you don't become a member, we will send you copies of Joss Whedon's Justice League, signed by me. Well, since Austin is out, I will be joined by our illustrious, very hard-working producer, Caden Reed. Caden, come on in. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing well. How have you been?
I've been good. I've been good. Saturday we had Tudum, so it was fun. It was. I don't think everyone was like very excited at the end, but like there was some cool tidbits that they gave us,
Yeah.
About. So it's just
I think Netflix is still trying to figure its stuff out.
Yeah, it's like it's where you have Disney Plus now, you have HBO Max now, you have Paramount Plus, you have all these networks and studios making their own streaming services. Where now Netflix is like, now we have to also, like, we were ahead of the game, now we have to be more ahead of the game, and that's like, and they're seeing that Disney did that whole Investors Day and DC fandom. They're like, oh, let's do something like that.
You know what I think Netflix should do? Do you remember pre-COVID, whenever they did these, they would do it in a stadium with an arena full of people? I feel like I hope they don't just do digital, virtual from now on.
I think
it needs to be people cheering and screaming.
Yeah, I think what they might do is a mixture of both, where they will be like, okay, we have this thing, and like either it might be in Canada or LA or New York, wherever it may be, wherever they choose it that year, then they have like a camera crew that's like live streaming it like to the global audience.
Yes,
Like,
do it like that. Or I think having an audience makes a difference. It makes a
Yeah.
powerful difference. Like whether it's a PlayStation, Sony event, an Xbox event.
yeah,
I mean, one of my favorite memories is the first time they showed the first full trailer of The Force Awakens, and the crowd went nuts.
Oh,
Just
yeah.
hearing that,
It's like
seeing
the
Chewie and
Star Wars Celebration, D23, and all.
Yeah.
Like, I think, the in-person conventions like that are definitely going to be changed drastically. Like, you have people, I think they'll have less restriction on certain things.
yeah,
But then again, they'll also put more safety protocols.
exactly.
Obviously.
And look, they don't have to have 50,000 people. They can
No, they
even have
can do like
limited
1,000. They can just have,
1,000, and just the noise of a crowd when they see The
Yeah.
Witcher. Just
Yeah.
it helps. It helps.
yeah,
And
that's like
someone
I
could be
think I said it on the thing, like when I think it was when Finn, Wolfhard and Caleb McLaughlin was on. Like
Mhm.
Caleb was like gonna clap, but he was like, "Oh, never mind." There needs to be they need like a laugh or a clapboard, be like
Yeah.
clap, like something like
Bring back those
people just-
like they use in sitcoms, people applauding or people
Yeah.
like, ooh, just bring that back. I
Yeah.
need some audience engagement.
yeah,
But
because it was,
I did see a movie this weekend. I saw The Escape Room 2. I saw the first one. I liked the first one. It was kind of a Saw ripoff, but I liked it, and I enjoyed this one too. A bit over the top, but that's okay. I wasn't expecting Shakespeare. I enjoyed it.
it's a
I enjoyed
popcorn flick,
Popcorn.
horror, popcorn thriller flick.
Yeah. And I completely forgot that Venom 2 is coming out this weekend.
Yeah, insane.
Like it slipped through my mind. Like I said,
was
it's
like-
one of those days.
Because I was like, and I'm just thinking about like, and then like the reviews come out today, like the first reactions came out today, this morning, and then the reviews come out tomorrow. So it's
Ooh.
not like I don't think they have much faith in this movie, because usually when they do first reactions reviews like 2 or 3 days ahead, it's like no faith in it. They're just like whatever with it.
You know what? Since we're talking about it, I was going to say this for later, but let's talk about some of the Venom. All right, so we do have some. Or if I can pull up some Venom pictures, here we go. This is from Collider. Just some early thoughts. This is from Dan Casey. He says, "Venom: Let There Be Carnage is a wild-ass movie of the highest order, ultraviolet rom-com that is delightfully self-aware and weird. Tom Hardy gives 200%. Whatever you do, don't miss the post-credit scene." That is one of the things we've heard. That's a more recent one. We heard a couple of these like last couple of weeks.
Last week. Yeah. Where people
From what I understand, without saying much, you know what the post-credit scene is, right? You don't have to tell us what it is, but you know what it is. Yes.
Yeah.
Is it something? Are people building it up to the point? Like, is it worth seeing, or is it?
I think it's worth the build up that people have given it. I think I saw one person that built it up to like where it seemed like it's like one of those things where it's like world changing. It's not world changing per se.
Yeah.
But like crazy thing where like, oh my god, this is the best post credit scene ever. But it's like it's definitely mind blowing, But at the same time, I feel like at the same time, like just listen, like and then like what's the ramifications of that,
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, they're doing that.
My mind's telling me no, but my ego is telling me yes. That's the R. Kelly thing.
Oh my god.
I just gotta say the R. Kelly spoof that SNL did with Kenan Thompson.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I'll wait for your verdict, J.O. King. She's like, my name is Gayle King, not J.O. King. You leave your cameras out, and that has got to be so brilliant. Benson, I really want to see your thing.
The whole Gayle King and R. Kelly interview is crazy.
Oh yeah,
it's like dudes was bonkers on that.
Yeah.
But yeah, just like.
Go ahead.
But yeah, like Venom, and also I know some other things about Venom too. But it's like, it sounds like like at first I was concerned because like they're introducing Shriek, Toxin, and Carnage in this.
Yeah.
In an hour and 30 minutes. But then like it's still concerning because like what I'm hearing is they barely introduced the other two,
Okay.
and but they were like marketing it like they were gonna introduce like them like crazy, like you're gonna go dive into them, but it doesn't seem like that anymore. I'm just like, okay,
I mean, I actually don't have that many high expectations just because I saw the first one. I enjoyed
yeah,
it. But then when I said I should rewatch it for this weekend, I was like, oh, do I have to?
yeah.
They're
That's
like,
what
"No,
I'm like.
I
I'm
have
like,
to."
I don't want. It's like one of those things where it's like it's rewatchable, but is it like like
Yeah.
is it really
Like, I
like
feel like I saw it once. I don't really need to see it again. But,
no? You got
I
the
am kind of
gist
curious.
of it of
I
like
am kind of curious what um, Andy Serkis can do as a director. He has been
yeah.
involved in some of the biggest franchise films of all time. He's worked with Peter Jackson. He's worked with Matt Reeves. He's worked with Chris Nolan. This guy has got to have picked up something, and
Yeah,
so maybe
it
he'll do something interesting. I
they
don't know.
did. Some people did say that the motion capture work in this film looks way better than the previous film. So
Yeah,
maybe he's using his experience as a motion capture actor, and
yeah,
then using that to say, okay, let's do the. You gotta do this move instead of, and when you're gonna punch, actually really punch. Like with the motion capture. So don't just like punch like you're playing punch, like
yeah,
actually punch or
exactly.
something like
Go
that.
put some energy in motion.
Yeah.
Benson, real quick, we are going to get to R. Kelly because I actually was thinking of doing a cold open where I sang that Dave Chappelle R. Kelly thing. But anyway, I digress. I can't wait for that because I think I'm going to go see it Thursday night, maybe. If I after
Yeah.
Quizzo, maybe see if I can catch a midnight show somewhere. If not, I'll go because Friday night I got plans. But I do want to see it. I'm
I
IMAX. We can see it in
Yeah,
IMAX.
I do want to see it. I just not I'm not crazy about it.
All right. Leonardo Wilkes says, "Don't ignore my fantastic R. Kelly comment." Jack, where
Oh,
was it? Did I miss it?
I came to do my impression of R. Kelly on Austin. I'll set it for you,
I'll
Jack.
set all new. Okay. You want to come on live onto the show and do it? As long as no curse words in there because we don't want to get demonetized. But uh, his Jungle Book movie was boring. Oh, did he? Oh, my bad. Did he do Jungle Book?
No, he did this Netflix original movie Mowgli. It was based
Oh,
off of the
okay.
Mowgli
No, I'm
character
sorry. I
in
thought of
Jungle
Jungle
Book.
Cruise. I thought of Jungle Cruise.
Jungle Book was by Jon Favreau.
John Favreau, yeah.
And without Jungle Book and the Jungle Book movie and Lion King movie, we wouldn't have Mandalorian.
Yeah,
So.
yeah, exactly. He did Jungle Book, and didn't he do Lion King also? Or am I making that up?
He did. Yeah, he did. He did
Okay.
Jungle Book and Lion King back to back.
Okay, cool. And
And
he's made a lot of money for Disney, so
yeah,
I think that's one of the reasons they're like, do whatever you want with Star Wars.
because he did Elf, he did Iron Man,
Yeah,
and I think he did Iron Man 2 as well, right?
yeah, he did Iron Man 2 as well. Yeah,
Yeah, and then he did the other two.
I always got the
Jungle
feeling
Cruise
that he did
or
Jungle Book and Lion King to make the studios happy, so he could get what he wanted to do, which was Star Wars. You know what I mean? Like, let me kind of play the game.
He
Here's
also-
Lion King, Jungle
yeah.
Book.
Yeah. Also, he was like like when you're watching the first two episodes of the making of Gallery Mando, he kind of explains the volume creation, how he went from Jungle Book and how he was just in this blue room, and the actor was trying to focus on the snake, this that was played by Scarlett Johansson, when there was like this blue pole, and he was like petting the body when he was supposed to be petting the head. So it's just like, let's like, so it's just like, and then like he was like touching the bear's hand instead of touching the bear's head. It was just like he was able to focus on the actual the thing that they wanted. So they're like, okay, let's
I got
something.
something right here. Benson, R. Kelly objected to COVID-19. He wanted COVID.
Oh God. Oh my God.
It kind of reminds me of that old joke. I like my women the way I like my coffee. Sorry, sir, we threw away the 8-year-old coffee.
Oh my God.
Hey,
It's
Prakash,
just like-
Prakash, I feel like I haven't seen you in a long time. Welcome back, Prakash. Welcome back. Noel's excited. He says, I want to do a DC Fandom Disney Plus Day MCU, X-Men, MCU, Blade, MCU, Moonlight, First Look, Shield. That
He
looks
wants
like
everything.
the title that
He wants
honestly
everything.
Ty wants me to put in. Because I used to put like Jivin with Jack episode, whatever. Here are my topics. And Ty said it actually works better for algorithms to put the titles first. And then that seems like Ty's like Ty, DC Fandom, Disney Plus Day, MCU, X-Men, MCU.
Noel, are you actually Ty?
Yeah, that might be time right there. That's what the title of the show is. Just stuff.
Yes.
Stuff happening. So I'm kind of excited to see it. I think it could be sleeper hit. And here's what's funny.
Okay,
This
I'll
might
also say
end up being a better movie and doing less financially just because that first film was meh, which would be a shame. Like James Gunn's The Suicide Squad. Like, it's a way better movie, but people may not go see it because they were like, yeah, the first one was okay. I mean, this will probably make money.
I think
it's nowhere else, right? It's not streaming
anymore. It's one of those things where, like, both the studio and the general audiences and fans need to realize, like, they're different directors. I think everyone, but then again, if you say different director, they're like, oh, okay. But if you don't say the director that's doing it, there's like the whole thing about them marketing him as the Guardians director is because he hasn't directed anything other than that the word general audiences liked,
Exactly, yeah.
He's written the Scooby-Doo movies. It's not like they're gonna say Scooby-Doo 1 and 2 writer James Gunn and like
man,
okay. It's like the man who it's like they're gonna expect that, they're gonna expect the Scooby-Doo or Slither type feel of the movie, but then it's like it was not that. It was a very hardcore rated R Guardians.
And he wrote Dawn of the Dead.
And he wrote Dawn of the Dead as well. With
Ben said, as long as you keep putting them and they're funny, I'll put them up here. Why can't you get out of a sex cult with R. Kelly? Once you're in, you're in.
Oh, God.
I want to piss. Have you ever seen the Dave Chappelle skit where he did the I Want to Pee on You music video? Yeah. On Dave's trip, pee on you. Venom will be performing and isn't streaming. That's correct. It's the first part of Spider-Man leaving the MCU. I don't think that's going to happen. I think both Sony and Disney know there's too much money to be made by teaming these people up.
Yeah, no. Especially, like, knowing what they're doing with No Way Home and Venom 2 and Morbius.
Yeah.
Marvel and Sony are not leaving each other alone.
No, not at all.
Not for another 10 years. Not even, like, until Tom Holland wants to stop being Spider-Man. Yeah. That's when you'll see, Peter Parker as a character leave the MCU.
Could you explain this? I know Ty was going to do a show about this. What's going on with the Flash teaser? This wasn't on the
Okay, so basically, someone asked in Barbara Mischetti, is there going to be like a teaser for the Flash DC Fandom? She said no, but there will be a surprise. So I think, also, I don't know why people are asking for a trailer that's for a movie that's 13 months away. Like, it's 13 months away. You can wait until Black Adam for a Flash trailer.
Yeah.
Or Batman for a Flash teaser,
Yeah, this has been a long production for the Flash.
Yeah, this has been a long production.
Do you think this is me putting on my tinfoil hat, which is too far away for me to reach? I don't know. With this merger with Discovery, do you think they might be retooling the story a little bit for Zack Snyder's Justice League? I mean, I've been hearing a lot of rumblings that
especially since it's out already on Twitter and Reddit or whatever. Especially since basically all of the Justice League members are in this movie.
Yeah.
Like, except for Cyborg. But other than that, every single Henry Cavill's Superman, Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman, Ben Affleck's Batman, Henry Lennox, Martian Manhunter, Ezra's Flash. So you have 5 of the main.
So here's the thing. Here's what gets me. Henry Lennox's Martian Manhunter. Huh.
Yeah. It's interesting that they're using Henry Lennox.
There we go. Okay, integrity. We're talking what you want to hear about because you just joined us. I just said that I think that maybe the Flash production is taking so long because whether it's David Zaslav or whatever, the money guys, not Toby Emmerich, they're like, why don't we make a sequel to this damn movie to make more money? Look at these fans buying the Blu-ray. The Blu-ray and the 4K has been selling like hotcakes.
I think it's this regime's last-minute attempt to look like the good guys again.
Yeah.
And so it's just like, let's cover our ass. It's type thing where it's like, okay, let's do this real quick. But the other thing is like it's interesting that they're using Harry Lennox, Martian Manhunter, especially in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah.
Martian Manhunter isn't in the DCU if you're following the Justice League. He isn't in. He's not. He's not in. He's Harry Lennox's character is not Martian Manhunter in the Justice League version of the DCU.
Yeah. So that's exactly. So why bring him in if they really wanted to make a difference? It'd be like, oh, we have a different Martian Manhunter. You know, like throw some shade back at Zach's way. I think that I think a lot of us gave up hope, not me, that maybe we may not see anything Zack Snyder related ever again. But I do think that with this Discovery merger, look, the moneymakers, they don't care about canon. They don't care about the fans. They want money. And if they're like, hey, if the fans, this movie that's 5 years old was #1 all over the world, broke streaming records everywhere, and now we put it. When was the last time you saw a movie on physical release selling out like crazy? The moneymakers are like, wait, who's this Zack Snyder guy? Oh, we fired him? You guys fired him? And you put out this movie called Justice League. Yeah, you're fired. Let's make another one of these. Get that Zack guy back here.
Yeah.
Give him $200 million. Give us another move. Pay Ben Affleck whatever he wants. Go. I mean, that's how boardrooms are, like, so to speak. They're not really caring about canon. See, Kevin Feige is great because Kevin Feige knows how to sell a movie to the executives, but he's also a fan.
Because Kevin Feige has a parliament where it's him, Victoria Alonso, Louis Esposito, and like Nate Moore. Like he has a group of producers who he like helps. They all help him tackle different projects. Where Nate Moore and Chloe Zhao have the Eternals coming out in November, and then you had I believe I forget who did Shang-Chi, but it's like he knows what he's doing with his team members, because I made this analogy with someone a couple days ago. Is you have a father and two sons. The father's Richard Donner, and the two sons is Kevin Feige and Jeff Johns.
Yeah.
You have the son who is arrogant and egotistical and is in the head and thinks he knows everything, and goes and tries to recreate the other son's work. And then you have the first son who is into what the father was doing, so he tried to do what he knew how to do best, and to create a universe that was successful, and with both two very successful studios, Paramount and Disney, and then you have the two stepdads that were Ike Perlmutter and Jeff Loeb, who are restricting him, and then those two stepdads now left, where now he's able to do everything he wants to do, and now in Phase 4. So it's
it's exciting. Real quick, I want to address this integrity. I know you've been saying it for a while. I have never said I don't want the Snyderverse restored, or that I think it can't happen. This is going back to Suicide Squad to August. What me and Austin were saying was that if it's in the fridge, if DC, what was the point I was going to make? If they decide not to restore the Snyderverse and they make a good movie, that's not going to stop me from seeing it.
Right.
Hold on, folks.
Yeah, like what Jack was saying, like there's you can do whatever you want with this movie. You don't have to see it. You can stream it on a pirated site, whatever it may be. But at least like if it takes you a month and a half to see the movie, it's fine. But give it a chance. I would say, whenever like
that by watching that movie we were somehow doing a disservice to Zach, and that's not true. That's not true.
No, I think
I have no intentions of seeing Star Wars versions. Go Austin and Caden, you guys talk about that. Discovery merger that leads to shake up. Integrity has discussed it frequently for 2 straight years now. Integrity, don't tell me you knew about the Discovery merger ahead of time. Come on, come on, come on. Benson, it's only selling out because limited stocks in stores. If it is a limited stock, it's still outselling the other DVDs, Blu-rays, and 4K. And you'd be shocked if you go to like local, like I'm in the city, people like Walmart, Target, they still sell DVDs. Some people do not buy digital yet. I'm not saying that's the majority, but some people still buy physical copies. I still buy physical copies if it's a movie I like because I believe that 4K, and I don't believe, I know, it's a fact that 4K physical will always look better than 4K streaming. So I'm just hesitating because I want to buy the box set of Zack Snyder's, the box set that has Man of Steel, BVS, and the Snyder Cut. But I already have the first two movies, in 4K. So that's, I don't know if I want to buy that, but whatever. You two are out again. He's smoking the good stuff. We do not encourage drug use here at the Pop Culture Corner. Gabe the Bomb Bird. We just got the release date and voice cast members for the Illumination Mario movie in 2022. We were talking about that last Thursday, but there comes a point where you just have to acknowledge some people have no critical thinking skills at all. Jack, who are you cussing out? Yeah, sorry about that. There we go. I love these two. Ty was always trying to get them to stop. Austin, tell these two to stop. Integrity and Benson have to stop. I'm like, let them go. I want tension. I want them to go at it. But anyway, we were talking about but my point with the Snyderverse and the Flash thing is that I would not be surprised if the Flash movie's kind of being retooled. As you said, Wonder Woman, everyone's going to be in it at some point. Let me ask you this, Caden. This is going to have a huge cast. Do you think Martian Manhunter, Wonder Woman, Ben Affleck, well, maybe not Ben Affleck, are going to have a lot of scenes, or are this going to be, let's say, in one scene, or we may just see them briefly, there's Wonder Woman while I'm going through the multiverse,
I think it's going to be near the end where they show the Justice League, where possibly he Ezra Miller's Flash goes to the Hall of Justice and maybe sees everyone sitting down at the table, and you might see 7 chairs, but 5 of them filled, and then one is missing, and be like, "Oh, where's Cyborg?" And they'll be like, "Oh, he's off doing a mission."
Cyborg died.
Cyborg died.
Cyborg died. He was sitting on the toilet. He went to cardiac arrest and died. Bye, Cyborg.
He accidentally touched water.
He touched water and he got electrocuted.
But yeah, I think there's some things that we all screwed up with, especially words with Ray and all that, and I think there's some things.
I always thought that Ray should have. And people disagreed with me on this. Ray was wrong, but he should have taken the job in the Flash movie, gotten some stardom, made some money, then speak out. When you're on top.
Oh yeah, pull the John Boyega.
Yeah.
Where he stuck around for the whole Star Wars trilogy, and was like, "This is not okay," but I'm not gonna let this attitude continue. But if it does continue, I can document it.
Yeah.
But I think the one thing that he said wrong was when he said, "I don't want to work with anything on." Yeah, Hamada.
I thought that was.
That was the one thing he said wrong, because by saying that, you basically said no more DC projects for me. I'm
Benson, you're on fire today, man. Oh man, I hope not. I hope he does come back. I always
hope he's come back. I
always thought that they. I actually defended Hamada, not what he said, but I said, look, it seems like Hamada was trying to play the middleman, and was like, look, we can't get rid of Jeff Johns, we can't get rid of Toby, but we'll still give you the Flash role, and we'll call that a détente, right? And Ray was like, nope, which I understand. Ray's justified to say no, but then when he went after Walter Hamada, I was like, oh boy, now you're burning some bridges. I always say that in the entertainment business, and this is just me as a viewer and as a podcaster, a very well celebrated podcaster, you never want to burn bridges with other people. Even if you hate them, even if you know they totally suck, you wait for the right moment. Ray could have handled it. I understand where he's coming from, and he's totally justified. But had he played the game, it's sort of like politics. You got to have to play the game. You kind of have to play the game. And then when you have the power, the money, the stardom, When you have Vanity Fair come into your house to do interviews with you, then you can be like, oh, by the way, this guy, Joss Whedon, kept adjusting the color skin because I was black. You know, he was like, oh, we're going to have to change the tone of your skin.
Yeah, like
to it. Then you could then let the media take over. The media's like, whoa, Joss Whedon did what? You know,
Right.
Walter Amada said what? Jeff Johns said what? Toby Emmerich said what? And you could let the media kind of carry the storm. And I feel like he's sort of been like, you know, the boy who cried wolf to the point where like people aren't listening to him anymore, and that's a shame because I think he's very talented.
Like people listen to his cries about Joss Whedon because you know that was the natural concern that everyone had in the industry, where it's like, oh yeah, we all know that Joss Whedon's notoriously racist and like weirdly sexually harassing people, and made, you know, that's like very well known, and like him saying that out loud, and it was like, okay, yeah, like we, you know, everyone agreed on that. Like, you know, Charisma Carpenter, and like she came out even and told her story. And we all know that Sarah Michelle Gellar was gonna quit Buffy, but she, you know, she couldn't because, you know, Joss Whedon was holding her on a leash. And it was just like, you know, like it's one of those things where it's like, okay, like that's understandable. And the same thing, you know, it's like John Burks, he was the only one that apologized recently. I think that like Ray still has some things against John, but at least he's like, okay, I know that you apologize.
There has to be some semblance of forgiveness in Hollywood.
Yeah.
There has to be some semblance of, okay, someone said something, whatever. I heard a story from Star Trek where in the first season, Patrick Stewart said something that he didn't realize was offensive to the two black actors on the show, Geordi, who was played by LeVar Burton, and Michael Dorn, who played Worf, and they stopped talking to him. He was British, didn't know that a certain word or phrase was taken differently over here. He found out, he apologized, they're best friends now. You have to have that moment where people apologize. Like, I'm not like in the case of Weinstein or anything. I'm not saying he should apologize and be forgiven. But, like, I would like to see these men get into a room and hash it out and give us Justice League. Zack Snyder's Justice League 2. I'd still like Cyborg to get his own movie, or maybe be the leader of the Titans. Maybe, you know, the Justice League gets a little too big. He goes off and forms the Titans.
Yeah.
Give us the Titans movie. There's so many directions they can take it.
Yeah, that's like another like one of those things where it's like, okay, so we have the Flash movie and you have all the Justice League members at the end, and you see there's a chair missing, and there's this comment saying, oh, Cyborg's off doing something else. Then you'd be like, okay, now that Discovery is taken over by then, you can be like, okay, Ray, what project do you want to do after this comment about you doing a mission? Like, do you want your movie to be about that mission that you're on?
Yeah.
And then, you know, be like, okay, like, is it you making a side team? You know, what is it? What do you want to do? Hamada is, you know, not gonna be involved with your thing.
Yeah.
He will still like be a producer on it, but he will not be involved creatively, or he'll just be creative. He'll be involved financially.
Yeah.
But we will make sure that you and him do not interact.
Yeah.
And
I think Hollywood is filled with people working with each other who do not like each other.
Yeah.
And to go to Benson's point, Benson said here a little bit earlier before he was fighting with Integrity, but if I can find it. Yeah, here we go. Ruined his career. I don't know. I hope he's not ruined it, but
I don't think because he's off doing a lot of stuff for Disney right now.
Yeah.
Like he did a series about being Emmett Till's stepfather.
Okay.
And then I think he also has another project with the same crew of that project for ABC. Okay. So he's fine with ABC right now. You know, he's doing great. On the Warner Brothers DC side, that's not the, you know, where it's like the thread. You have 4 threads, and there's only like the last thread is barely touching right now. Like it's if there's one more thing he says, then it's cut. You know.
Yeah.
But right now it can, you know, you can get a lighter and reattach it with more being Discovery, being that lighter, you know, reattaching it. but who knows?
Yeah. I just got to address one thing here. Two things that Prakash is saying. Prakash, I'm glad to see you back here. He said something. Here we go. The Suicide Squad failed. Yes. Okay.
It failed. It
But
failed. It quote unquote failed, but it didn't fail. Like,
yeah. I mean,
it was a
I'm
success
just
on
going to play
HBO
devil's
Max.
advocate with him for a second.
Yeah.
But if it did fail, it wasn't because it was a bad movie. It wasn't because the critics hated it. It was because the fans hated it. The people who saw the Suicide Squad loved it. It's number one, it was bad marketing. Number two, it's the effect of the first film. The first film was so bad. A lot of people I talk to who are general audiences, people who don't
Right.
follow this stuff the way you and I do, are like, oh, there's a new Suicide Squad movie. Oh, yeah, I didn't really like that first one. I'm not gonna go see it. Well, but it's different director. Oh, okay, yeah, okay, cool. The guy who made Guardians of the Galaxy. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Like,
I'll give it a
just
chance.
and then putting on HBO Max also probably didn't help. And then right here, already watching the fun effect of MCU and DCU. Yeah, no, Prakash, that's what I've been saying. I want DCU to be different. I want it to be a little bit edgier. Not like I need to be, uh, turn into like a snuff film of any kind, but I would like it to be more in line with what Zach was doing, more in line with, kind of I guess there's no one else besides Zach, but something a little bit different. I do agree, like the violence is very toned down, but I also understand that MCU very much also is family friendly, and DC can push it to not be family friendly. And I think a good example of that, Prakash, was the Suicide Squad by James Gunn. That is not a family friendly movie. It's fun, but it's not fun in a Marvel sense. It's fun in a Clockwork Orange kind of way, where it's like, oh my god, I can't believe I just saw that, like pushing the boundaries type of way.
Right.
Yeah, no, and Nolan left WB because, Nolan didn't leave it because of the Suicide Squad or Snyder or anything. He left because of what they did with HBO Max. Yeah.
Yeah. He. I think there's a kind of a double side to that thing where he was kind of being
no death threats.
He was being a bit petty with that whole thing,
Yeah.
and then again, and then his demands for the Universal deal is like, no movies that you have are 2 weeks ahead of me or 2 weeks behind me. And I think he could have said 1 week ahead of me and 2 weeks behind me, which is fine. That would be better. But he said a full on month, both. And so it's just like, oh, you're gonna have a month of nothing but just Nolan.
Yeah. I hope I'm saying your name right. Taran or Tarun, Prima. Put it like in the comments how to say your name. Not just emotional, yes, but stakes to be serious. So, for example, take the final act of the first Avengers movie, which I love, and take the third act of Man of Steel. Both third acts feature 9/11 scale destruction, buildings collapsing, death, devastation. It's pretty terrifying, except in the Avengers, which I still love, everything is kind of played off as a joke. Hulk punches Thor. They're making jokes. They're laughing. They're giggling. They're making quips as buildings are collapsing in Manhattan, which, by the way, did actually happen 20 years ago. It's kind of played for laughs. In Man of Steel, when you see the death, destruction, and chaos, it's serious. Like Perry White holding the hand of that girl as the destruction approaches them because they know they're
and
about to die.
You have in the beginning of BVS where it's
and
like the dude
it bugs me that people hated that.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, that's good. There should be like this idea that when people are dying, it is serious. That is why you need Superman to stop Zod. Not like, hey, Zod, I'm going to stop you, you jerk. I'm going to arrest you and put you in the county jail because I'm Superman. Like, you need that emotion. You need to, and that's why the beginning of BVS is so good because now you see it from the ground level. You see Batman or Bruce Wayne losing people in his company, and of course the Avengers, they pulled this all the way back in Civil War when they said 70 people died during the first Avengers incident in New York. I'm like, really? Only 70? Like, that's it? But like, they don't want it to be about death and destruction.
Didn't they also recently show? Oh wait, no, I'm thinking because I was watching the deleted scenes for Avengers 1, and it showed like some crazy serious stuff. I wish they kept some of those things where it's
I
like
would
this.
have liked it.
It's
I
the
would have.
waitress, the waitress in
Oh
Captain
yeah,
America, and
yeah.
she's come back in this movie, and she's like,
The girl from The Last of Us. She's from The Last of Us. That girl, the one who says
oh
Captain
yeah,
America saved me.
yeah, and so she's she's trying to protect citizens, like she's like,
Yeah.
and so
So
like
the
that's
casualty list comes from the beginning of Civil War when Secretary Ross is.
Ross,
Remember he says Sokovia,
yeah,
Washington D.C., and then in the screen you see 74 people died or something like that during that first movie, and you're like, I mean, not that I need more people to die.
and then you see in Age of Ultron where it's like I think 10,000 people died.
Really?
Where it get like I think in Age of Ultron the stakes went way higher.
Yeah, but again, even in Age of Ultron, they're making jokes.
Yeah,
America's like, "Hey, I didn't hear you," and you compare that to the end of Man of Steel. It's like apples and oranges, night and day. And I appreciate that because that's why Ben Affleck's Batman is pissed. He's like, "Count the dead, Alfred, thousands. Next time it's gonna be millions, And here's the thing, and then the movies, the MCU kind of shies away from this. But when superheroes are going to fight, there's going to be collateral damage. That was one of the reasons that triggered.
That was one of the reasons why they chose to have the Civil War fight at the airport, because it was like less
collateral damage,
criticism on the damage, because then it's just damage to the heroes, that are fighting, and damage to government property, other than where there's no civilians, but there's still government property at risk. And you kind of see that
one of my favorite scenes is Alfred Woodard in the beginning of Civil War, which is like, "This is my son, you killed him in Sokovia," and like that was a great scene. There's no jokes. And the next scene, Cap's like, or Iron Man's like, "Hey, yeah, we dropped a building on him while we were kicking ass, and all this stuff." I'm like, yeah, more of that. Show that there's actual stakes, and that's why the end of Infinity War worked so well, because it wasn't really played for laughs. There were no quips after a certain point of that movie.
Yeah, because literally you had Cole Obsidian and Ebony Maw like coming into New York, and everyone's running, and you see like people people are falling, and you saw someone I think you saw someone die. It was just and it was like everyone's running away from it, and then you have Ebony Maw saying, "I'm coming here to save you," or whatever, giving them false promise into someone. And
exactly. Prakash, you just said something. Where are you, my buddy? I do agree that Warner Brothers thinks that they need to make things more fun. I'm not against having fun, but I would, I don't think I need Shazam to be like an aggressively edgy movie. It's not. It shouldn't be. Birds of Prey did not need to be aggressively edgy.
The Suicide Squad does not need to be aggressively edgy either.
Because the whole idea of the
Suicide Squad is a funny concept. It's not a concept to be taken seriously.
Yeah.
It's a group of villains who are tasked to have a bomb in their neck to do something that heroes can't do because, a Waller wanted, because why Superman and didn't go and save Starro and the Suicide Squad from Starro is because Waller probably, said, no, don't let the heroes go there, because if they go there, they'll find out that the government is a part of this.
Yeah.
And it'll ruin and then Superman will be like, why did I try to save you guys in the first place if you all are just destroying yourselves?
You're just destroying yourselves. Marlon Eric says, I really like that scene as well. My first introduction to the MCU. She was also really great in Luke Cage. She's one of the few actors and actresses that's kind of in two places in the MCU, because Mahershala Ali is also in Luke Cage. He's also going to be in The Blade. But here we go. The destruction element of comic book movies is always weird because some take it as a joke, i.e. MCU, except CW, where there's DC, there's reason, extended plot points to it. Yeah, exactly. And I think they should take these things seriously, and I hope they take things seriously. Again, I don't need to see like people like missing limbs or anything, but you have you get the heaviness into it.
It needs
like
to
I said, the one
like
Man of Steel where Perry White is trying to save the one girl. She's like trapped under a beam, so Perry White and the other guy are like trying to get her out, and the terraforming thing is getting closer and closer. And at one point, they just give up and they hold hands and they look at each other. I'm like, that right there, That's why
Right.
Superman's a hero, because he stops it in the Indian Ocean. Like that moment right there, he saved those people's lives. You know,
Right. And it also like, the whole Doomsday, trying to get Doomsday away from the city
yeah,
into a nuclear zone, which is, the no man's island
yeah,
and that whole thing. And it's like it's it's integral to the thing because, if you have Doomsday just in like you saw what happened when a superhero or a dead thing comes back to life
yeah,
is not knowing what's going on in
yeah,
ZSJL and you have him in a area where everyone is at because you have Heroes Park is now destroyed.
exactly.
And
I mean, it's funny because uh, our old friend Justice, he used to say that he didn't like all the buildings collapsing and all that stuff in Man of Steel and stuff. I'm like, have you ever read the comics? That happens all the time. What? I'm like, he's a huge
yeah,
fan of like the animated series. I'm like, you see buildings collapsing, you
it,
see cities blowing up, and I'm like, unfortunately, like, if you had super powered beings fighting, what do you think's gonna happen when Magneto shows up in the MCU again? I hope they do not nerf him. I hope they make him a villain. I mean, in the first one, the X-Men that the Fox did, Magneto basically tries to assassinate all the world leaders, and he's like,
yeah,
"Yeah, whatever, f them." Go
yeah,
ahead.
because he's an anti-villain slash anti-hero, but still like on more near the villain side
Yeah,
because he believes that mutants should rule the world.
yeah. You know what, Billy Baxter? Since you brought it up, this would be a good time to talk about the X-Men name change. So this is a little bit. Oh, I think we lost Caden. Oh, we lost Caden. Caden's gonna come back. This has been. Oh, he's back. All right. I feel like this is something that they said on purpose to kind of test the waters.
Yeah, Victoria
I
said
don't think this
this
is actually
a
going to
while
happen.
ago. Yeah,
Basically, I'm going to read the quote. She said once, her name is Victoria Alonso. I don't know where the future is going. It's funny that people call it the X-Men. There's a lot of female superheroes in the X-Men group, so I think it's outdated. I think they released this to see how people will react to it. And I think, you know what? People, even the woke ones, are like, I don't, when I think of X-Men, I don't think that they're using the word men as in only males. They're using the word
right.
men. That's like mankind, manhole cover, etc. Does it come from a patriarchal
Yeah.
archetype? Yes, yes.
Yeah, I also because I was having this conversation with my friend last night about X-Men and I was talking about how like the first
Wrestling term.
um first like official MCU project with X-Men or mutants should be called the mutants because it's talking about the overall, it's talking about
Yeah.
every single, but you can go later down on the line saying there's an X-Men TV show or X-Men movie.
I think the problem is, and here's the thing, X-Men was created in the early 60s, right? So we're coming
Right.
up on 60 years. And say what you will about the Fox films, they have made that a bigger brand. Like, yeah, you had the comics.
Also,
it's arguably the most interesting comics, I always felt.
yeah.
X-Men and Spider-Man.
I also think
It's such a brand recognized name that I think if they were just to call it the Mutants,
the mutants is like it's
unless
like
they would,
the first thing that Stan Lee and Jack Kirby wanted to call them.
it.
Yeah, that was
But
like
see, the X-Men. See, because here's the thing, because it depends who they're gonna focus on. Because if you want to do a movie about the X-Men and call it the Mutants, it may not work just because you also have mutants who are not part of the X-Men.
But if you wanted to focus on every single mutant and call it mutants, then yeah. Like if you want to focus on like Magneto and then some random mutant, then call it the mutants,
Katsuka, Austin smoked a lot of drugs, and now he's like this. He's taking it. No, guys, for those of you joining us who did not hear my announcement at the beginning, Austin is actually pretty sick. So just keep in your thoughts and prayers. In fact, if you noticed last night, usually we have Lean on Me on Monday nights at the Pop Culture Corner. We did not have it last night. He was not feeling well. He's still not feeling well. Just keep in your thoughts, keep in your prayers, give your best wishes on Twitter. Just let him know that you guys are there for him. If you guys know that maybe a couple months ago, he did have surgery, so he's not feeling well. He will be back, hopefully Thursday, maybe next week, but he'll be back. Here we go. Show your face or coin purse, Caden. Caden's like a kid, by the way, so I don't know if you want to get like some kind of harassment thing, but don't say that. I always enjoyed the X-Men over the Avengers. Oh yes, in terms of comics,
that's
yes.
like one of the reasons I think
Yeah.
that's another thing where it's like, okay, it's funny because like once the Avengers movies like came out, Chris Claremont came out and said that like after Days of Future Past, after First Class, he really liked he really liked First Class and really liked Days of Future Past. But then he came out and said, and then like with Dark Phoenix, it was a box office. The opening weekend box office was terrible, so the studio obviously told him to go say something nice about the movie, and then you have James McAvoy, who's like, if they want me to be another Mutants movie or X-Men movie, please be a good writer and good director.
Yeah,
and I think that's a hint at like.
Let's tell you something, Kasuka. 92. Oh, Kasuka, are you a guy or a girl? I don't want to misgender people. If it helps, let me know what your preferred gender pronoun is. When Marvel was going bankrupt in the 90s and they were selling off properties, Sony bought Spider-Man, Fox bought Daredevil, X-Men, basically the mutants, right? They did not buy.
Universal bought Hulk and Namor.
And Universal bought Hulk. They did not buy the Avengers because up until the movies, the Avengers weren't really that well known. In fact, prior to the movies, more people knew about the Justice League. The average person I'm talking about, not talking about comic book fan, knew about the Justice League because the Avengers comics aren't really that amazing. I'm not saying they're bad, but like they're not really like, oh wow, that's why everyone when they talk about the Avengers, they talk about the event things like Civil War and stuff like that.
Right.
Justice League comics are pretty good, and X-Men comics have been exceptionally good for 60 years. Exceptionally good. In my opinion, them and Daredevil are tied for like the best written Marvel comics, and then Spider-Man. Those three right there, which are also the three that
also Fox bought.
Fox did not buy. They're like, yeah, we don't want.
Because they saw that like they saw that Fox and Universal were smart because they saw that Mutants and Fantastic Four and Daredevil can be its own little thing.
Yeah.
And then
he just joking. R. Kelly's tribute single to Prince has been canceled. Yellow Rain.
Oh God. Oh my God.
Benson, stop arguing with integrity and keep giving us more R. Kelly jokes. We'll say them as long as they don't get us demonetized. 90s X-Men was great. Adam, hello. But yes, but X-Men is so phenomenally well received. And I don't think, honestly, if they were to change it to X People or the X Force or come up with a whole new name, I think you're tarnishing a brand. I also think you're kind of missing the point of the X-Men. Yes, it was called X-Men, but it wasn't using the word men as in men only. It meant men as in mankind.
Right. Because they're mutants who are trying to show humankind, mankind, that we are just like you, but we're more fortunate than you to have these, so we can be better. But then Magneto took that to another extent where it's like, we're better than you, we are superior, and
ignore each other. Integrity and Benson, ignore each other. Stop talking to each other. Talk to us. Give us more questions. Give us more jokes. X people. But see, like, I was thinking to myself, like, I think I said on Thursday, like, what are they going to say? Change Batman to Bat Person? Then I'm like, oh my God, I could totally see that happening. I could totally see someone saying, well, how do the people know that he's actually Batman? I mean, are they assuming he's a man? I think they should call him the Bat. And then they're going to call the Spider-Man the Spider, Iron Man.
The
Iron thing.
Batman stuff, because you already have Batman, Batwoman, Batgirl, and then Robin.
But see, the people who tend to like nitpick over this stuff, they don't care about that. They want to make a point.
I was talking to my friend. He was like, then he was going off and like, oh, next thing they're not going to call Batman the Bat, and they're going to call Spider the Spider. Or I'm like, I mean, technically there is a Spider-Man character called the Spider, you know.
Yeah.
So
Folks, give us your best X-Men alternative name. X-People. How about the X-Folks? X-Folks.
X-Folks. We're the X-Folks.
Yeah.
And we are
Or
here
like
to save the day.
yeah. So
We are protectors of the mutants and humankind. We are X-Folks.
Ty, where's the OnlyFans?
Oh God.
So here's the thing, Kasuka. This is what I thought. When I was a kid, I thought X-Men meant as in X-Men, as in like they're not men anymore. But it has to do with Professor Xavier, like X-Men.
Yeah,
I thought they were X-Men. It was a play on words, like
used well in First Class.
Yeah.
With Mystique and the recruits for First Class was like Xavier, and we're a group of people, humankind, mankind, X-Men, like kind of thing. And it was like, I can see that. But yeah,
I wish we had more women in our fan base. So, like, I'd like to hear their perspective. Like, does it really bother them, like, that it's called X-Men and not?
Yeah, I think what Victoria was trying to get to is like it's outdated in the sense of the social aspect, but it's not. But like naming it is fine, you know.
Yeah.
But if we take it out, it's whatever. But it's like socially, you know, like if you're just gonna say X-Men,
yeah,
like, oh man.
I also think it's funny you mentioned socially. There is a little bit of push. There's a lot of pushback against sort of like the uber woke crowd, and I tend to think it's not about the message; it's the way it's being enforced. I think if you actually take people and say, like, "Do you really have a problem with trans people?" They're like, "No, not really. I just don't want them to tell my kid this or that or insert whatever." Okay, if they take the X-Men and they change it to appear virtuous, or I think people will react to that. They'll be like, "Oh my God, they're just doing this for whatever reason."
Yeah.
And people really don't care. Like, look, Overlord DVD was like, "Oh, Shang-Chi is only to appeal to Asian people and Chinese people." No, people went to go see it. You saw a little.
Yeah,
I saw
it's breaking records every weekend. You know,
and they had a huge opening weekend. That's not social justice.
Huge second weekend, huge third, huge fourth, and I'm sure they're gonna have a huge fifth weekend as well. It's like, it's big. You know, Shang-Chi is a big movie this year.
Here we go. Ty says, "My OnlyFans, I heard they don't pay well anymore." Hacker man, how about Wolverine and his friend? I've been saying that if they do a first X-Men movie, introduce the mutants, however they do it, they should not have Wolverine in it. They should focus.
I think it should be.
Cyclops is the leader. He's the first leader. He should be the leader.
It should be a rogue-focused movie where it's like how they were gonna do with X1, where it's like Rogue becoming, because the way that they did,
or even how they did the first episode with Jubilee in the X-Men animated.
Jubilee and Rogue should be like the main two focuses of like going on to become X-Men, but they'll be mutants. They're in the school of Xavier. You have them to be the two main focus, and then be like, hey, they become X-Men. And then you also have the other, and then second season of it, if they do 2 seasons, or mid-season, then introduce Logan, Do
you think they're going to do a show instead of a movie?
I think they'll do a movie to introduce the mutants, and then a show to do X-Men.
See, I would think it would be the opposite. Do a movie with the main guys, and then use the shows on Disney Plus to introduce other X-Men.
Yeah, maybe they'll do that. I think that would be a cool way to do it.
Like, here's how I think it should happen. The first movie should be about how all of a sudden mutants are popping up. I remember my theory was that, let's say, and all of a sudden you see Charles Xavier is like, oh my God, we have to help these people. And Eric Lensher is like, wait, they're going to put us in camps? Wait, what? And like, that's where like they start recruiting people.
Right.
Not like an X-Men First Class, but like the two men have an argument. Magneto says like, look, I've sat by, watched humanity, blah, blah, and I know what's going to happen.
Or X3, when Magneto like kind of sends Mystique and Toad to recruit like some mutants at that like wrestling match place. I forget which one. And then like and they become the Brotherhood of mutants. And
start that, like, do the thing, start young, and I wouldn't be against them. First of all, cast somebody, cast good actors.
Continue the whole like Nick Fury solo show, where it's like Nick Fury is introduced to Charles, and Charles introduces him to the idea of mutants.
Yeah.
Like,
I would like that, but I would also like Nick Fury and the Avengers to be at first wary of the X-Men, because the
yeah,
best
I think that's
stories
I
is
think
when
that
they're
would be
fighting the
like
U.S. government.
where yeah,
But
because
even Nick Fury is like Bruce Wayne and BBS. He's like, there are too many powerful people. We were worried about threats from space. Now we got to worry about threats from next door. This is too big. We have too many mutants. We have to do something about this. You know what I mean?
I
And all
think
of a sudden, Nick Fury is trying to do the right thing the wrong way. Like, well, maybe we should have a Sentinel program, some way, where we can track,
I
thousands or
think
millions of
that will
mutants. Let's do the
I,
Sentinel program, and
yeah, I think I agree with to an extent because like I think what will happen is like where because the first person he'll hear about mutants from is Doctor Strange, and Doctor Strange experienced Charles Xavier is not so great because he locked him up for crimes for multiverse crimes. So he's like, maybe they are threats. Who
yeah.
knows? And
Well,
like because
people always made the
his role, like be like okay, like we thought you're a threat, but you're not really a threat. And
yeah,
then, but you do have a. I think that's what's gonna happen. Where it's like Secret Invasion
yeah,
will be a season 2. Secret Invasion will be like the mutants.
yeah.
Be
Maybe
like
that'd be
Secret Invasion mutants.
real quick. We have a Benson joke. P. Diddy revealed that he was a bedwetter on Ellen. R. Kelly called him and said we should hang out sometime.
Oh my god.
Here's another Xavier and his peeps.
X peeps.
X peeps, yeah.
X peeps. X people. X people.
X people.
Use drinking fountains. Contact R. Kelly.
R.
Oh
Kelly.
god.
Wow, that's crazy. But yeah, I mean, I think there's so many directions they can go with the X-Men. But I will say this: that the first 2 X-Men movie and then First Class and Days of Future Past were really well-told X-Men movies. And even the last Logan movie, and you know what, the second Wolverine movie I didn't think was too bad either, where he goes to Japan. But there was a level of violence in them that I don't know if Marvel's gonna want to go near.
Yeah, I think Fox kind of set a bar, not too that's a bit too high, and then they kind of lowered it with Dark Phoenix and Apocalypse.
Yeah.
And then again, and then you have Logan in First Class and Days of Future Past, which kind of like you have like this medium-sized bar right now, because you have really good movies that they did, but at the same time, you have the same amount of meh to bad movies. It's like where it's like right there, where they can step it up a bit, but they have for Fox men fans, they're gonna have to do something where they can pull those people in.
Yeah. There's so many directions they can do with this.
Yeah,
but I like that they're not forcing it, because I always thought like, oh, now that this merger is complete, we're going to see X-Men in Phase 4, and I don't think we are going to see X-Men in Phase 4.
I think like not MCU mutants or MCU X-Men, but we'll definitely see Fox X-Men, obviously, in Doctor Strange 2. But other than that, maybe a mention, like I said, in Secret Invasion, like post-credit scene, like where Doctor Strange tells Nick Fury there's a group of people that needs your help, and he's talking about the mutants, and they need to be found, type of thing. Because Doctor Strange only knows one other searcher, and that's Nick Fury. Because so
that'd be kind of
that'll be cool.
But they gotta do it soon. I want to see it sooner rather than later. But I'd rather them. I mean, I'm not against them starting with a clean slate. Honestly, I know that just do your own version of the X-Men and do it right. All right, we're gonna talk about R. Kelly, folks. Stand by. Well, R. Kelly has finally been convicted of racketeering and sex trafficking. I'm going to read to you a little bit about this. A New York jury on Monday found R&B singer R. Kelly guilty on all charges in his trial on racketeering and sex trafficking charges. Kelly, whose real name is Robert Sylvester Kelly, could face decades in prison. Kelly, 54, trigger warning, was accused of multiple witnesses of targeting, grooming, and exploiting young women and men for, quote, his own sexual gratification, quote, end quote, and running a sex cult by trafficking people across the state lines. He also allegedly bribed a government worker to help him marry late R&B singer Aaliyah when she was 15 years old. I have heard that she was even younger.
Yeah, she was. I think it was. Well, they met when she was 14,
Yeah.
and I think when she was like 14, leaning 15,
Yeah.
they got married.
Did you see that Surviving R. Kelly documentary?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did.
I actually stopped after 2 episodes. Like, it was too much because I grew up listening to Aaliyah. I did not know much about this. In fact, I was actually at Valley Forge Military Academy when Aaliyah died, and when I came back, I hear that she died in a plane crash. I'm like, what? Because she had just done that movie Romeo Must Die, and she kind of was starting a film career, and she had a gorgeous voice, and I did not know any of this R. Kelly stuff. And yeah, he did. I mean, you talk about super predator, uber predator. The stuff this guy did, folks. There's a documentary called Surviving R. Kelly. If you can stomach it, watch it. The stories in it are just frightening. Locking girls up in bedrooms, locking them up in rooms. I mean, that's just the beginning of it. Oh my God, Wendy is speaking on Twitter. It's glorious. Who's Wendy? Oh, Wendy's. Okay. Leonardo Wilkes says, Tyler, come sit next to me. Ty, I think you got a fan. No, what we're saying is that he finally got indicted. Integrity. Think about this. This has been going on since the early 90s, and it is now 2021. Now he got in trouble.
Yeah, now it's
30 years.
It's like he gotten probation once or twice.
Yeah.
And then a community service.
A lot of times.
Yeah, he got probation a lot of times and community service a lot of times, but he never gotten like full in jail sentence. I'm
curious, Caden, if we showed the SNL skit, hypothetically, would we get a copyright strike or something like that?
Most likely.
Okay. But like in that skit, he's like, it's really brilliant, the skit they did with Kenan Thompson, where he's like, people are crazy. They'll say on the internet, R. Kelly did something, and then attach a video of me doing that thing. Ooh, it's crazy. It's like,
It's like what? Yeah, you did that thing.
He did. I mean, there was a sex tape that came out in the early 2000s with a girl who's clearly underage. She's like, it's not me.
Oh yeah, and I remember watching the Surviving R. Kelly documentary. They talked about it, and they talked about basically like that whole thing where it's like, and it was just it's very depressing and sad, because all these little girls' lives are ruined.
Apparently, he would go to like age ain't nothing but a number. Yeah, it wasn't a clue. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I was like, that was a clue.
Katsuka, I love Romeo Must Die. In fact, I showed the Romeo Must Die trailer one time, and I was saying this is what I want Shang-Chi to look like. But like the stories of him going to like, I think McDonald's or like fast food chains to pick up young girls.
Yeah, and like because when he, I think it was 2 years ago. I think it was after the documentary came out. When he came out of probation, the one of his managers or security guards slipped up and said, "Oh yeah, we went to McDonald's right away."
Yeah.
And they're like, "Oh, yeah, no, you're not supposed to be there." And I think that's the guy in community service after that.
Yeah, I mean, and here we go. This is Marla makes a good point. In the documentary, it was said his managers and staff would help bring girls to him from schools. Yeah, why aren't they getting in trouble? See, this is the problem with Hollywood. R. Kelly got caught. Think about the guys and girls who are not caught. Harvey Weinstein got caught. There's probably a lot more producers who do a lot more of this type of stuff. So Tarun, Taryn went on for 30 years.
Speaking of, like a previous topic, Fox X-Men, Bryan Singer, is like is like a major producer there that like, I think Ty Sheridan came out and said that, that he was almost not got almost got not almost wasn't Cyclops because of Bryan Singer
Yeah.
forcing
Wow.
him to do something. But he didn't do it and told
What?
the
I
producer.
didn't know that.
Yeah. He was,
This is the kid who played Cyclops in the recent movies, right?
yeah. And
Look, this sucks because I thought Brian was a good director.
and
It
also
also
I
kind
think
of sucks about Kevin Spacey. Like,
yeah.
what a
Was
phenomenal actor.
was it X2 that they killed Cyclops, right?
X-Men
With
3.
X-Men
That was
3.
the original Cyclops, yeah.
Yeah, that was James Marsden. When that whole James Marsden, I think X3 was X2. He wanted to quit, but he couldn't because he. But then the reason he asked them to. They asked him. He asked
I'd always heard
like
that he left
people
X-Men
to.
3 because he wanted to do Superman Returns.
He
That's
wanted to
what
do
I,
Superman
that's how the
Returns,
story I
and
heard.
he also wanted to leave Fox X-Men stuff.
Here we go. Selling children is where the money is at in 2021. The drug trade is old news. Selling women, teens, and infants, especially without birth certificates, where the money is. Welcome to reality. Folks will find this interesting. There is more slavery in the world today than there was at the height of the transatlantic slave trade. Think about that, folks.
Yeah,
More slavery
because
today than there was at the height of the transatlantic slave trade.
because you have people just
It's very common in the Middle East. I'm telling you right now.
it's sad. There was we all think that it's a bright and sunny outside every day, but it's not.
Yeah, it's not. There's a lot of it going on, and
Yeah.
this guy is proof. Here we go. Here's his crying face. You're killing me with this.
You're killing me.
You have money, and you make money for someone else. You will be protected from this type of behavior because you have. There's no doubt his managers and the record labels he was with. They're like,
Aaliyah's uncle, who was one of the producers who introduced Aaliyah to R. Kelly in the surviving R. Kelly documentary, said that he regrets that decision every day. Where I think he even said that like when she died, that he thought of doing something, and he didn't have the courage to do it because he realized that he has a story to tell. He has. So it's like it's one of those things where it's like there's guilty people who feel guilty about it, but they're not. They're not in jail or being prosecuted because they know if they do that, then they're they're nervous. They're in a place where they have to say it, but they know that they have a choice to say it.
I think Hollywood, the FBI. I think is the only one who can do this. They have the resources. Have to seriously do some deep undercover stuff to uncover the craziness that's happening in Hollywood, because threats are being made to young women, especially young boys. This goes back to Corey Haim, Corey Feldman, Elijah Wood, Macaulay Culkin, all these stories about what happened to these kids when they were small. This is not, unfortunately, it seems to be not only common, but it seems to be accepted to some degree. We were talking about how on award shows years ago, they used to make jokes about Harvey Weinstein, like at the Golden Globes years before and everyone's laughing. They're in on the joke.
Ricky Gervais, he basically outed everyone at that one of the Oscars, and he was like, or Golden Globes, or one of them. He was like, "Y'all are sick, Y'all laugh at these jokes when this is happening."
Oh,
and
yeah.
Everyone's laughing at them, laughing at him, he's like, "No, I'm serious." It's
Norman Hollywood, and look, this is an integrity. This is going back decades. Listen to some of the stories from the 30s and 40s and 50s
Judy Garland.
Women. Judy Garland, yeah. I mean,
the biggest one is Judy Garland. It's and I also Marilyn Monroe as well. It goes back far.
That's messed up. 15 is too young. That you're still. I as I'm getting older, Caden, I know you're 18, but even as I'm getting older, 18-year-olds look much younger than they are. I know that by law, technically you're still growing. If you're a male, you're not fully developed until you're 22, 23.
Yeah.
So, technically, Caden, you could still get taller. You're still growing. I was, I don't know, like maybe like
I think it should be
or
21.
or
Like,
different. I think teens are still kid. They're still
yeah,
kids.
it should be like 19 to 21. You know, it
Yeah,
shouldn't
so,
be.
here's the thing. Yes, we are making jokes to
Yeah,
some degree,
but
but
to
like
some degree,
to
but
some
it's
degree, we're
very
not making fun of what he did, but like it is quite clear. I remember I mentioned the Dave Chappelle skit. That was 17, 18 years ago. People already knew back then, and it took this long for this to
yeah.
happen. And it happens because in Los Angeles, some of these district attorneys, some of these judges
Funny,
are kind
speaking
of
of
like either in on it or
speaking
they're
of
like,
like the California district attorney or like this George Gascon. What funny thing is when we're talking like I was I was telling my family like that R. Kelly's like finally going to jail, and then 15 minutes later it was announced that George Gascon was relieving 15,000 arrests of from weed arrests. People who've been arrested for marijuana usage because that was a big thing that Kamala Harris made illegal and put in a lot of you know
yeah, she
she was
well,
funny thing is that if it was just like it was this past weekend like my family was being very off and criticizing Kamala Harris. It's like but then they're like, oh, like we love her and all, but there's still some things she did that like the whole illegalizing weed in California when
yeah, she
thousands and
yeah,
thousands of African American men were put in prison,
yeah.
and like it was just like when she has done not a lot of good things for African Americans,
And then
even though
she
she's
joked about like being in college, smoking weed, and listening to Tupac. And
yeah.
apparently, she was in college in like 1985, and like Tupac
Funny
wasn't
thing,
even
my
until like
aunt,
93.
uh,
You
my
know,
aunt my aunt inducted her into her sorority, into
sorority, really?
so yeah, so
Wow.
they so it was like
Does she know what she was like? By the way, I just want to say this. I just want to say this because we were talking about this last week. I am not a big fan. I think one of the reasons we have kind of a messed up culture is that I think, especially I don't know about sorority so much, but the fraternity culture in colleges is very, in my opinion, weird.
oh yeah,
I think it's disgusting. I was asked, not all of them. I'm sure they have some nice fraternities, but this whole thing about like we're all guys or we're all girls and we're going to protect each other in some kind of and in order
and
to
then
do
do
that,
crazy
like, grade
stuff.
yourself sexually. I mean, I've
Yeah,
heard stories about like some crazy stuff,
there's
and I'm like,
my aunt, like even though my aunt can't tell every single story because it's like part of the fraternity sorority pledge where you can't say like every single little thing. But there was like one time where it was like this young boy who just came in, a freshman, who was trying to become part of the fraternity. He was being part of the pledge, and they'd like basically dumped him in like some place naked, and he was like it was raining and there was dirt and he was all muddy, and he had like it was just like it's not the culture is not and you and like
it's a weird thing. I don't know. Yeah, exactly. Cult 101. So like, I used to
yeah.
party with this fraternity because I was friends with a couple of guys on it. So it was a great way to get into parties. Sigma Phi Lambda. They were cool, but there were other fraternities where roofing was expected. It wasn't even like, dude, we've heard rumors. It's like, oh yeah, that fraternity, watch what you drink. They roofie girls. It was accepted. And moral off of that, the sororities were kind of okay with it. They're like, oh, that's how they are. They're the bad boys, And I'm like,
All right.
wait, what?
Yeah, like and
Like
so
a lot of times with girls and guys, they want to be accepted so much by either the popular kids, the cool kids. This goes back to high school too, that they're willing to do that to themselves, like humiliate themselves. And
there was the one of my
like I never understood the idea of streaking. We were talking about the Ric Flair thing. I never understood why people do that.
It's like look at this. It's like like what are you like trying to do?
And like so basically we're talking about the Ric Flair thing because it started off with him being naked, and then when we know what he did.
It went further than that.
It went further than that. It's like, well, part of it is like that. It's accepted. Look, I'm not trying to. I'm coming off as a Puritan right now. I'm really not. I'm just saying that when you engender 18, 19, 20-year-olds with this kind of culture, it is very much, as Leonard said, it's kind of like a cult, and as they call it Greek lifestyle. The Greeks were nothing like this. Do you read Aristotle and Plato? No. And I'm not crapping on all fraternities. I think there's a lot of good fraternities that do a lot of good work. But like that kind of culture, like, let's demean someone, usually sexually, to build them up. I don't get that. I think that when you have stuff like that happens, that when that person leaves college, they hear about R. Kelly, it actually seems normal to them, and it doesn't bother them a little bit because they're desensitized to that type of stuff. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like all of a sudden they're like, oh, R. Kelly did that? Yeah, that's kind of like what the guys in the fraternity used to do. Oh, good old Buck and Joe, they used to roofie girls. And they're kind of like celebrating it, like, dude, what'd you do last night? It was celebrated. I'm like, okay.
My dad's friend, he was talking about his, he wasn't part of anything. He wasn't part of the fraternity, even though his dad was like a major fraternity brother, and got like branded twice. He was like, yeah. He's like, like that kind of dad. Or he's like got branded twice, one under his armpit and like one in his thigh. He's like, yeah. And like, I'm just like, branding now is not, not illegal, nor it's a decision. Now.
Right.
It's a decision now where it's like, do you want to be branded or do you not? But like, it's like, okay.
No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about like when they roofie girls and then had sex, they would kind of like celebrate it. Like it was kind of known.
Yeah, but like, yeah,
good for you. You roofied that girl, or you got her drunk, hooked up with her. I'll have 13 reasons why.
The whole fraternity brothers, like the whole frat house was expelled off campus into a hotel, and they had to, study in a hotel. That's what happens.
And you know what? To give you another example, in high schools, I know you weren't a big fan of 13 Reasons Why, Kate, but I thought there was something interesting. There was a lot of assault going on in the show with the football and baseball team. There was a baseball team, sorry. But the school was like, yeah, but these kids bring us championships. These kids bring up school spirit. These kids are the reason the state gives us so much money. And they would kind of like let it go. They had their own ball club where they had pictures of girls they assaulted. Now, I don't know if it happens exactly like that, but this is very common in colleges and schools, where if a football star or a baseball star or NBA, if they bring in attendance, they help sell out arenas, the school will look away, unfortunately. Well, look what happened at Penn State. Penn State's not too far from where I live. It happened there. They protected a lot of sexual assault for the namesake of the school. I'll tell you close to home. Another organization that is mostly men, the Catholic Church. I'm a devout Catholic, but I will not excuse the fact that the church was like, we'll take care of this internally. This priest, we'll just move him over there. No, you should have given to the cops.
Yeah.
You don't move priests around. You give them to the cops. And I know many priests who are dear friends of ours who come to our house. If a priest is accused of something, you don't handle that. I've been guaranteed right now, Caden, if I go to church and I steal a chalice, like a golden chalice, they're going to call the cops. They're not going to be like, we'll handle this internally. No, they're going to be like, dude, this dude stole $100 chalice. So when it comes to assault, but again, it's these groups and enclaves where they kind of protect each other. They're like, well, don't worry. We got you covered. And so given how this happens in high school, in colleges, in sports, it's actually not surprising that R. Kelly got away with it for so long. All these managers who were testifying, why weren't you saying anything 30 years ago? Because they were probably threatened. They probably said
they're threatened.
They had a picture like Ray Donovan, like, you say anything to the police about what R. Kelly did, we'll kill your family, we'll kill your absolutely. They do stuff like that.
Yeah. It's just
to normalize criminal behavior and thusly erode, you can just say erode morals and values. Great way to destroy functions. Society. I think I don't know, I'm not trying to sound like conspiracy, like they're doing it on purpose, but I think that in a postmodern world where we say everything is acceptable, if everything is acceptable, so when stuff like this happens, I mean, R. Kelly got caught. Who else has? You think R. Kelly's the only one doing it? I don't know.
There's a lot of other Hollywood people out there that that are definitely have stories to be told about them.
And I think you know what? I'm not again. And again, I think the FBI or someone in law enforcement has to look into this. Someone has to look into this because the culture is too toxic. And I mean, how many more stories are we going to hear? And we're going to then, like the very fact that the Hollywood was propagating the Me Too movement. I'm like, dude, you guys are the Me Too movement. Like every horrible story has come from you, and some needs to be
majority done. Of like there's.
It's like the Nazis saying, like, we got to do something about this anti-Semitism. It is getting out.
Or it's the allies of the Nazis. It's like we have to do something about anti-Semitism. It's getting out of hand. It's like, bro, you're friends with one. Yeah. It's like you're friends with one. Why aren't you like doing anything about them?
Yeah. Billy Baxter says, Pop Culture Corner is the only place for movie information and talk. And yeah, this is what we're trying to do. Like, this is not all we talk about. Like, you go back to like 2 weeks ago, all we're talking about is Spider-Man, X-Men. But this is relevant.
And Woody Allen's one of them too.
Yeah, dude, and he's such a great director too. But like,
and then you have Scarlett Johansson. Like, the thing about, I think there was a difference between Scarlett Johansson's and Jeff Goldblum's. Jeff Goldblum was saying that he gave me my career, while Scarlett Johansson was like full on like praising him, like, oh my god, he's like the best thing ever. It was just
so Woody Allen, no one's doubting that he's a phenomenal director. Annie Hall, Manhattan, his stuff.
Like everyone's like, he's a great director, but he's also sick.
I mean, here's a guy who marries Mia Farrow. They adopt a child, and then he marries her when she grows up. Like, there are people saying, well, they're not blood related. I'm like, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Because he groomed her to be his wife.
Yeah.
No matter what it is, he adopted her. It may not have been the intention he had when he adopted her, but it ended to be like that. That's grooming 101.
It's unfortunate, like I always say this way, family is family. In the East, Pakistan, India, and even in the Middle East, it's not very uncommon to marry your first cousin or your second cousin or a cousin through marriage, right? You're not blood related. But the way we look at it, the way I look at it, I'm like, they're still your family. Yeah, you're not blood related, but family is family. And you do not, at least I think in a moral level, going back to integrity, says it's no. Family is family. Nope. Woody Allen. Who's the other director? I'm blanking on his name. Crap. He was in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I can't remember his name.
Roman Polanski.
Roman Polanski, another one.
Yeah. It's just like, he's one of those people where like he had terrible things done to him, with his wife being murdered. Mm-hmm. But then again, he was also a sick person. He wasn't okay in the head. Mm-hmm. And
they gave him an Oscar for The Pianist, which was a good movie. But the Academy should have, if they had morals, be like, you know what? Because of his past history, no. The guy basically, if he ever comes back to the United States, is going to get arrested. Yeah. But I was watching I think it was Joe Rogan, and Tarantino was defending the crap out of Polanski. And I love Tarantino, but I was like, dude, no, you can't be defending Polanski. He's like, well, she it was consensual. I'm like, doesn't matter if she was 14. She's kind of forgiven. I'm like, doesn't matter if she was 14. Oh, she wanted to do it. I'm like, doesn't matter. She was 14. She was a child. I don't care. You can't do this whole like, oh, he's an artist and artists are weird. I'm like, yes, and some weird people go to jail. Right. And yeah, Woody Allen hasn't made anything decent in a while. Ambassadorial Wing, thank you for joining us. Greetings to you, my friend. Wait, Celine Dion's manager? This is another story I don't know about. But anyway, like, my point is, he got captured. He's in jail, and he's going to appeal it, and who knows where that goes. Who knows? He might even get out of it. He's a slippery one. He might give one of these performances in court. But I hope he goes to jail, and I hope he stays there, and I hope that more people are, exposed for what they are. Kaden,
I hope I hope everyone that has been, offended by R. Kelly comes out, and it's just the last of them,
Yeah.
And I truly hope that everyone, also with the whole Me Too movement, I think, I think you and I have talked about this, about the whole Me Too movement movie that they're doing, about the whole first, people to speak out about things and call and name the Me Too movement, which is the news writer, two news writers and a just a random black mother who's but three of them came out and said this is what's going on, and they're now being made a movie about them, and that's what they're being highlighted. They've been highlighted as female heroes for everyone,
and interesting point right here. Hollywood needs their annual fall guy so they can say it's one bad apple. I hope that's not what happens. We're like, all right, let's move on. We caught the bad guy, and then it keeps going on like perpetually. I think fans need to stand up, and I think law enforcement needs to take a bigger role and stop placating this stuff.
Yeah.
We're gonna transition to Spawn briefly. Kaden, I don't know if you're a Spawn fan or anything like that, but we're gonna talk about Todd McFarlane's movie, which he has been making for 20 years. Kaden, here is a riddle for you. You don't have to answer it. What is the greatest animated series? Is it X-Men the animated series or Batman the animated series? I suggest the correct answer is Spawn. The animated series. So, did you ever see the Spawn movie that came out in the 90s with Michael Jai White? You know what? This is a good movie compared to the first Venom movie. Does that make sense? Where it's not great, but not as awful as people say it is.
It's a guilty pleasure movie.
Yeah.
It's one of those things. It's another popcorn flick from the 90s.
Benson, I'll do that on Thursday.
Michael J. White was one of those people, those action stars that were just up and coming, who was body. I think he's one of the him and Arnold and probably like the more successful bodybuilder turned actors. But Michael's more on TV right now. He's more.
I like Michael, and it's a shame because I think he does a lot of direct to video stuff. Unfortunately,
he does direct DVD, DVOD, and TV.
Okay,
and I think he's doing a movie right now, and he's doing a movie right now, and I forget who's writing it, I think this is like this movie that he's doing right now is going to be his like big comeback.
Okay. How aware are you?
I know that they're trying to do it, the Spawn movie, new Spawn movie, Jamie Foxx and Jeremy Renner.
Here's the crazy part. So they're doing a Spawn movie, a reboot.
Yeah.
Jamie Foxx was cast years ago. And when I say years ago, I'm talking like 2018, 2019.
Yeah.
It still hasn't moved forward precisely because Todd McFarlane wants to direct it himself. He is adamant that he will direct it, even though the man has never directed anything. But I feel like studios aren't giving him money because they're like, dude, you have never directed anything. We're going to give you a big comic book budget. So damn, Integrity, I thought you were younger.
Yeah, I think I just say give him a chance. Let's see what happens because Jamie Foxx, and if the rumors are true, and Jamie Renner is still part of it, I think they might have a good cast and they have a good writer.
Here's what's interesting. So this is where the controversy. Yeah, he looks almost exactly the same. By the way, a lot of people don't know Michael Jai White is. He was Gamble in The Dark Knight. He's the guy that Heath Ledger's Joker tells the first story to, where he puts the knife in his mouth. that was him. Great actor, and I'm glad Chris Nolan.
Michael J. White again is amazing. You know,
not only that, Michael J. White. I remember it was kind of cool when Heath Ledger died. They actually had Eric Roberts and Michael J. White come on Larry King to talk about working with Heath Ledger. Like months, and I remember like oh, it's him, and like it was nice to see him like on on Larry King Live and talking about his career.
He's again, like I said, he's probably like although like we said, he's only DVOD and TV, but he's still one of the more successful bodybuilder actors.
So here's what Todd McFarlanes said. Quote, I didn't want to do the comic book origin story from issues 1 through 3 in the movie. So this is the origin you see also in the Spawn movie and the animated series. We're looking for people, without even telling them that, to give them something a little bit different. Unfortunately, 80 to 90% of them, according to the other person involved with interviewing, were falling into the trap of retelling the comic book story in the movie. We saw that movie. That movie came out 20 plus years ago from New Line. So what we haven't seen would be interesting and relevant today, both in terms of filmmaking and social content. So apparently he's implying that he might change the origin story a little bit to make it meet sort of today's social criteria. For those of you who aren't aware, Spawn was an African-American hero. It was one of the...
He was if you're... because I think the movie kind of did the origin a bit dirty.
Yeah, they did. They did. Like he basically got betrayed by the CIA. Yeah. He went to hell. He basically, so to give everyone basically, he was a CIA assassin, very good at his job. He killed a lot of people.
And
he gets betrayed, CIA goes to hell, and he makes a deal with Malboja. He makes a deal with Malboja. You become Hellspawn. You become a ranking officer in the Devil's Army. And his name is Al Simmons. His deal with the devil is, all right, I'll be your Hellspawn. I will be a knight in your army for the devil. I just want to see my wife one last time. And of course, when he comes back, he sees his wife. He decides not to be a Hellspawn. He's still Spawn, but he decides not to be a villain. He actually decides to be a hero, even though he came from hell. He finds out his wife is remarried. She's got a little girl. Folks, if you have HBO Max, Prakash, watch some edgy comment. Go watch that animated series by Spawn. In fact, I might watch it.
You can also watch the movie too.
You can watch the movie too. Both are good.
John Leguizamo
as the
Violator. The Violator. And I was just like, that's John. Like looking back, I'm like, and like he's in that short, stubby, clown costume and makeup, and then that's all you see of him. Yeah. And then when he becomes the actual Violator, the big creature, it's like this. Yeah. It's like if that movie was, if they I wish if it was possible to remaster movies with new CGI, that would be a movie I want to see remastered with new CGI, because I think if you remaster that movie better CGI, I think it'd be a bit better.
It'd be better, but I still think the animated series was the animated series. First of all, it's R-rated. I mean, it is graphic, but Keith David is such a great actor. And
Keith David's amazing.
As Spawn, it is so damn good. You know what? If I could even find a trailer for that, I don't know. Do you think we could get a copy if I showed a trailer, just so you guys know what we're talking about?
Hold on, let me see. Let me see.
I have an HBO trailer, Spawn trailer, 4 years ago. I have it pulled up. Do you think we'll get in trouble for showing it? I don't
know.
You don't know? Okay, well, this is where Ty helps out, because I don't think because HBO.
Well, it's Warner Brothers, so we'll get
that's the problem.
Warner Brothers I think the only people that are lenient on trailers and clips is Viacom, CBS. But if it's Warner Brothers,
a phenomenal series, and I hope.
I think the same with Disney. I think if you were to scale it, it'll be Warner Brothers is very strict on that, and Disney's in the middle where it's if it's something old, they're it's
it's a trailer they made. I mean, HBO put it out in April of 2017. It's 1 minute and 31 seconds. What do you think? Do you guys want to see it? It's only 1 minute 30, but like, unfortunately, yeah. But see, if we get a copyright strike, it's more serious. Like, we can only take so many of those before like they demonetize us. You know what? Let's not do it.
Yeah.
I just talked myself out of doing it. All right, but folks, check it out. Check out the Spawn animated series. It's kind of a slow burn. It's really intense, and they deal with a lot of crazy. I mean, the people that Spawn is fighting, including a guy who has a senator's son who uses a ice cream van to lure children, and he's got to find him. Whew, intense stuff. Yeah, it was amazing, and they were supposed to bring it back in 2006 and 7. They even did a teaser with Keith David's voice, and it never came into fruition. Then there was going to be a Sam and Twitch show, never came into fruition. And again, here's this movie that's supposed to come out. I mean, you got Jamie Foxx, that's a good choice.
And then like, I remember them announcing Jeremy Renner was supposed to play Twitch or one of the one of those two. But then, I think the only person that's really attached still is Jamie Foxx. And Jeremy Renner, I think what Jeremy Renner signed on because he didn't know the future of Hawkeye.
Yeah.
So I think now that he knows the future of Hawkeye, I think he's not going to do it.
Yeah. If Ty was here and Ty gave me the go ahead, I would show it just because I like he's more well read on these things.
Yeah.
Trailer from HBO. Would we be in trouble? I'm gonna text him right now. He's working full time at the moment, so he's not here today. But I highly recommend it. How about this? We'll stand by on the Spawn trailer. If Ty says it's all right, we might get a copyright claim instead of a strike. Ty will let me know. In the meantime, let's just real quickly before we go talk about the last. So, Caden, are you I don't know if I've had this conversation with you. Are you a gamer?
No.
Okay. Well,
Not
this was
really.
a game that really rocked the world when it came out because of its story. The Last of Us is set sort of like a post-apocalyptic world. They're not necessarily zombies, but they got the zombie feel. They're basically infected by a virus called the cordyceps virus. And basically, this man on the right is Joel.
Yeah, I know. I think I know the. I know.
You know the story, right? He lost his daughter at the beginning of the game. The story jumps 20 years later. He's like 48, 49. And he's a smuggler. He's a hitman. He's an enforcer. He's given the job. This girl is immune. He has to take her across the country to a group called the Fireflies to extract a possible vaccine against or basically it becomes a father-daughter love story, and it is beautiful. He goes from calling her oh Ellie, he starts calling her baby girl. She becomes his dad. He embraces her as a daughter. It's a beautiful. It sounds cheesy, but beautiful, well-crafted story.
Like, I still I know the story. I've watched some gameplay for it. Okay. But yeah, it's one of those things where, and like this first when it was when it was put up, I was like, that looks like a video game shot.
And so this is the photo. So this is Pedro Pascal and Bella Ramsey, I think is her name. A lot of guys will recognize her from Game of Thrones. They're going to play this role for the HBO. So yeah, it does look like it's taken from the PS5, but from the back, it looks almost exactly like them. And I got to say, I'm really excited about this. I hope they don't necessarily regurgitate the video game back to us. I like the way the game did it, but I would like to see them do their own version.
I think so. I think the creators of the video game are involved.
Nick, I think you're awesome.
One of the directors for the video game is directing a couple episodes for this as well.
So this picture is from Neil Druckmann. Yep. So this picture is actual image released by Neil Druckmann. So this is not a video game. This is actual.
Yeah, like Neil and Pedro and Bella have shared this photo crazy.
I'm really excited about this. It's really good. It's really emotional. And the second one obviously takes the story in a different direction. I'm not going to get into the second one because it ticked off a lot of people. We're not going to go there. But I hope
Gabriel Luna is in it, and he plays Pedro's brother, Joel's brother.
Oh, he's playing Tommy.
Yeah, he plays Tommy.
So Gabriel Luna, I only know him. He was in Terminator Dark Fate. He played like
Yeah, he was in Dark Fate. He was in
type.
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. as Robbie Reyes.
Yeah.
I mean, he was a really good Ghost Rider.
Yeah, I liked him. Oh, Ghost Rider, that's who he was. Yes, that's what he was.
Yeah.
That's good casting because they could pass off as brothers. Now, yeah, I mean, they're both of Spanish descent. I mean, in the movie, you know, Joel is like a white guy from Texas, but I think Pedro Pascal is such a chameleon. There are a lot of Mexicans there are a lot of Hispanic people in Texas. I would like to see Pedro try to hit that Texas accent, like, really?
Oh yeah, it's and the crazy thing is, it's like while I think they're like, this is a 1-year shoot. They started in June or July. Like he wrapped. You know, I think he shot something for Book Boba Fett real quick, and then went to Italy to start filming this, and I think he wraps in December. December, January.
Yeah. So to answer Ty's question, so to speak, yes, because they're not technically zombies because they're not dead. But think of it like 28 Days Later, because 28 Days Later is considered zombies, but they're not actually zombies.
It's more of cannibalism.
Yeah, basically, but it is kind of the zombie feel. Like you have to kind of avoid them. But I think it's going to be phenomenal when it drops because HBO knows how to make a good series. This could be the very first video game adaptation that we see that will be a masterpiece. Because so far we've gotten some good ones, we've gotten a lot of bad ones, but we haven't gotten one that elevated the genre. And The Last of Us truly, genuinely elevated video game storytelling. He had a Texas in that one. Oh yeah, that's right, he did. What was it? Was it Sicario? No, I'm not sure.
Hold on, let me pick it up.
But anyway, we have one last thing to do. Any last words on The Last of Us?
Didn't he have kind of a country accent in Narcos?
Narcos, thank you. Yeah, kind of a country accent. Yes, thank you. So I don't even know what his actual accent is. But
it's an English. It's not when I mean English accent. I mean like American accent.
American accent, yeah, regular American accent, yeah.
And then sometimes if you like really listen hard, he kind of has a Spanish accent in there, but it's majority American.
So does he sound like how he does in The Mandalorian? Because in The Mandalorian, he sort of has a normal. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But his real voice is very less monotone than Mando.
All right. Cool. So we have one last thing we're gonna do before we call it. So Ty gave me permission to share the Spawn trailer. And we're going to show it to you guys just so you guys have an idea of what we're talking about. Let me make sure the audio's up. Just so you guys have an idea of what we're talking about. Why this was an animated series. I should be on HBO Max. My sister liked it. And she's not into this stuff at all, but it's really good. I would have liked them to have continued it because why not do both? Do the animated series and the films. But here we go. This is a minute 32. This is the Spawn trailer. 3 seasons. They ran from 97 to 99. Here we go.
Spawn, your former self, meaning one hell-bent for leather, kick ass, take no prisoners, government assassin by the name of Al Simmons is dead.
When I let my guard down, all the ghosts come back to me.
I'm muting it just because the song started playing, and I don't want to get a copyright strike.
For your soul, Spawn.
So get used to it.
There we go. I don't want, because the music is what gets it. I did not think there would be a music for this, but take a look at these visuals. It gives me like an edgier Batman the Animated Series vibes to it, you know?
Yeah.
It's violent. It's aggressive. She is hot.
What I liked that the movie did was give him actual, like, somewhat more of a face.
Oh yeah. But see, with movies, you can't do I would love like a shot like that.
Oh.
Without it looking goofy. You know,
I
see
think
how that's lit?
with today's technology, you can do that live action wise, but back then you couldn't.
Yeah, and I think that's supposed to be St. Patrick's Cathedral or something. He lives near an alley near a church or whatever. I mean, I wish they did
I
more.
wonder who they're going to cast for Calistro and the Violator.
Yeah.
This new movie. I wonder if they're going to get Mark Hamill for the Violator.
Ooh, that'd be kind of cool. Yeah, that'd be kind of cool. All right, folks. I think that's everything. Yep, we got through everything. So I want to appreciate, first of all, I want to thank you, Caden, because I thought I was going to have to do the show myself because Ty's working. Austin's not feeling well again, folks. Keep him in your thoughts and your prayers. Hopefully he'll be back by Thursday. If not, we'll let you know, but maybe next week. But, folks, I want to thank all of you for joining us today. I have had an absolute blast doing this show. We've been doing it. Honestly, I've been doing it for a while because going back, I was doing TY's Corner. I want to thank all of you for your support. Let me run down some names here, honestly. Marlon, you're kind of new. I appreciate it. Leonardo, I don't know if I recognized you before, but thank you. Billy Roberts, Nick Carr, Billy Baxter, Ambassador Roy Wing, always stopping by. Integrity, Benson. I want to thank all of you guys for being here and everyone else who joined us earlier. We genuinely at Pop Culture Corner appreciate you guys watching us, whether you're a member, whether you send a super chat, whether you're just here and you're commenting, whether you're starting to fight with someone else in the comment section. We genuinely appreciate it. Benson, if you come back on Thursday, I'll show everyone what I keep in my man bag. And Marlon, we love you. We thank you so much. Hopefully, I think we usually do a Wednesday night panel, so make sure to hit the notification because sometimes we do our scheduled shows like Jivin with Jack, like our Wednesday night panel, or sometimes we're spontaneous. We might just go live. If news breaks and it's major, we're just going to go live, and you don't want to miss it. But if you do miss it, if you, let's say, missed last week's Jivin with Jack, or you missed our Netflix special to them on Saturday, go back and watch it. Watch it for a couple of minutes. Hit a like, leave a comment. It helps our algorithms. It helps us grow. It helps us meet people like you. Jack, show us some skin. Listen, I'm working out. So when I get really ripped, I will do this show topless. But I've been trying to get ripped for like 10 years. That's what my tag name used to be, Get Jacked. Never got there. But I'm trying. I'm trying really hard. Maybe one day. And then it will get canceled. All right, folks, remember, thank you for stopping by. We do it for you, and we do it for the culture. Hit it, kid.